Okay, so picture this. You have to move an entire city. We're talking well over 1 million people through the desert. No highways, no GPS, no modern tech. Today, we're going to dive into an ancient blueprint that did exactly that. It's a masterclass in organization that shows us a lot more than just good logistics. Let's start with just one single number, 603,550. Now, get this. That's not the total population. That's just the men old enough to fight. The entire community, you're probably looking at over 2 million people. A literal moving city. I mean, how do you even begin to wrap your head around organizing something like that? So, that's the big question, isn't it? How do you take a nomadic crowd that big and bring in some serious order? How do you turn chaos into a community? Well, the solution, as you're about to see, is surprisingly elegant. And it all starts from the center and works its way out. The whole plan hinges on one simple, powerful idea. You start at the heart. Everything, every single person, every family, every tribe is organized around one central point, the sacred tent of meeting. Think of it like a gravitational center for their entire world, both spiritually and physically. And here it is, the core instruction. It's simple, but it's profound. The Israelites are to camp around the tent of meeting, some distance from it. That one sentence dictates the entire layout. It instantly creates the sacred, protected space right in the middle and sets up the pecking order for the whole nation. So, with that center point locked in, the whole nation arranges itself outward into 4 giant divisions, one for each direction on the compass. Let's actually watch how this incredible structure comes together, starting with the most honored position. To the east, facing the sunrise, you have the camp of Judah. This is the prime spot, the position of honor, and it's a powerhouse made up of 3 separate tribes, each with its own leader and its own banner, but all united together. And here's how it breaks down. Just look at the size of Judah by itself, led by Nashon, with almost 75,000 men. Then you have Issachar and Zebulun right there with them. The precision here is just amazing. Not just general groups, but specific leaders and exact headcounts. You add all that up, and the Eastern Division has a fighting force of 186,400 men. And their position isn't just for show. It's totally strategic. They're the vanguard. When this entire nation picks up and moves, this is the massive force that leads the way. Okay, now let's turn to the south. Here we find the camp of Reuben, and you're going to see the exact same meticulous pattern repeating. 3 tribes, each with its own identity, all pulled together into one larger unit. This group is made up of Reuben, Simeon, and Gad. And notice again, we have the specific names of the leaders and the precise census numbers. There's no guesswork here. Every single person was accounted for. The total strength for the southern camp comes out to 151,450, and their role in the big parade, just as clear. They march second right behind the vanguard of Judah. All right, let's move across that sacred center over to the western side. This spot is held by the camp of Ephraim, another powerful block made up of 3 tribes. Here we've got the tribes of Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin, with their leaders and their numbers. You can literally see this grand blueprint being filled in, tribe by tribe, with incredible, mind-boggling precision. The Western Division comes to a total of 108,100 men. Their spot in the marching line is third. They move out right after the Levites, who are the priestly tribe tasked with carrying the sacred tent itself, which always traveled right in the middle of the whole procession. And finally, to the north, we have the camp of Dan. They are the final piece of this huge organizational puzzle, completing the protective square around that sacred center. The northern group is Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. It's worth pointing out that Dan is a really big tribe all on its own. And with this last group slotted into place, our picture of this perfectly ordered city in the desert is finally complete. The northern camp totals a formidable 157,600 men, and their job is absolutely critical. They're the rear guard. As the nation marches, they go last, protecting the entire column from any trouble from behind. So, we've put the whole camp together, piece by piece. But now let's take a step back and just look at the numbers. Because when you visualize all this data, the strategic thinking behind this whole setup becomes so much clearer. Take a look at this. This chart really shows the strength of each division. See how Judah, the vanguard, is the biggest force? But check this out. Dan, the rear guard, is the second biggest.
Now, that is not a coincidence. This wasn't just a random assignment. They put their strongest divisions in the most vulnerable spots, the very front and the very back. It's pure strategic design.
And that brings us right back to our original number, 603,550. But it's not just a statistic anymore, is it? Now you see it for what it really is. A nation, perfectly ordered. A society where every single person has a place, a leader, and a clear purpose. But you know what might be the most brilliant part of this whole plan is how flexible it was. It wasn't just a static map for building a camp. It was a dynamic, living system that dictated everything they did, whether they were settled down or on the move. I mean, just think about the genius of this for a second. When they're stationary, the formation creates this secure, perfectly arranged city with the sacred tent right at its heart. But the second the signal is given to move, that exact same structure seamlessly transforms into a precise marching column. It's a blueprint designed for both stability and mobility. And this final quote just says it all, doesn't it? This plan wasn't just a nice idea. It was what they actually did. That is the way they encamped, and that is the way they set out. The order was maintained, period. Total consistency, whether they were at rest or on the march. And all of this leaves us with a much deeper question to think about. This unbelievable level of organization, this meticulous, down to the last person detail, it feels like it's about way more than just surviving a trip. It points to a people being forged, disciplined, and prepared for a very specific mission. And it really makes you wonder, what does that kind of perfect order truly reveal about a community's ultimate purpose?